she was left with this situation, and she had to do the best with what she had. And if that meant operating out of survival mode the entire time, that's probably what you saw growing up and watching her having to do that, just making sure that we're making it to the next day. And so I love that you recognize the things that you will take with you and the things that you know that is necessary. Like you said, you had big feelings. And so it was important for you, looking back, knowing, for those things to be addressed, for you to feel, for you to have that safe space to be able to express yourself, and for those feelings to be validated, especially from your nurturer, the person who's taking care of you. And you do such a great job with that. I see it with all your babies, and I see even when they're upset and you get down on your knees and you're talking to them on their level and letting them know that you're there for that big feeling. Let's talk through what we're feeling right now. And I see that you're definitely walking in the change that you want to see for your kids. So thank you for being that example, because even without you knowing, I take so much from your interactions with the children, not just yours, but all the children. And I learned so much from your interactions with them. So, and thank you to your mom too, because she played a big role in who you are as a mother today. And even, Ricky, you sharing about your father, how he was such a big influence. And we see that today in everything that you're doing. You're a go-getter, and if there's a problem, you're going to fix it, you're going to figure out how to fix it. And I see that in you, you carry that strength with you. And I think, your father would be so proud to see the woman that you are today, and just seeing the way that you carry yourself, and even taking this time to honor him in that way. Thank you for sharing that, because that experience is true to you. And a lot of our listeners, I'm sure, can resonate with that experience as well, having their father as that role, a significant role in their life. And so, are we okay now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. And so thank you so much for sharing that. Because a lot of these questions, some of them may not apply. You might have a different perspective, or like Teresa, when you shared that earlier about your mom, and that's really why I love having these conversations, is just hearing different point of views that I would not have considered or known of if it wasn't for hearing it from someone else in their own background. Barbara, you talking about your mom and everything that she had to go through. That was a much different time. And just like Lisbeth was sharing with us about, thanks to those women that came before us and our ancestors and those who paved the way and did things from the start. And if anything, the constant here, the constant theme in the story is change. Your mom doing all of those things from the person she chose to love, like right from the start, and doing all those things and saying, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be regardless. And all of our moms doing that for us and setting the tone really for us so that we can walk in that path. And so something that I'm doing different, as a child of immigrants, my parents migrated here. I was 13 when we came here to America. And the beautiful thing about that is that they came here so that we can be different. If I did everything the same as my parents moving forward with my children, what a huge disappointment to the sacrifice that they made to bring us here, to start all over again in a new land, in a foreign land where they didn't speak the language. If I did everything the same, then their sacrifice would be in vain. And so I love that our parents are supportive of the change, and because they want us to do better than them. I brought you here so you can go further than me, do better than me. My mom, doing this right here, my mom's like, you're so brave for doing that podcast, for just opening up and talking on a platform. I'm like, Mom, I'm strong because of you. A lot of times my mom told me, you're so strong, you're so this and this. And I'm like, that's all from you. You're the one who created that space, the fertile ground, so that those things in me can be nurtured. And you supported that. And this is all because of your sacrifice and your love. So I see that all of us thinking about what we're going to do different. And I think that it's just a beautiful thing that that's exactly what those who poured into us, this is exactly what they would want to see. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much for all of these answers. I'm sorry, I was like, wait, I'm posting it. Maybe I was enjoying myself there. And thank you, Ricky and Elizabeth. You guys made me realize something. I know that this podcast right here today is about International Women's Month. But shout out to the good husbands who are here supporting. Shout out to the good fathers who has raised you all. In my story, I didn't have a present father. And growing into seeing how wonderful my husband is to our two sons, I realized also growing in my faith how a good father really transformed a little girl's identity into the woman she's becoming. And so I see that. I love that you brought them into this, because they really do. A good husband, a good father does shape us. So thank you for those answers and bringing those insights also to the views, if that is also your story. When one time, it brought me a memory as Tony was speaking. I remember speaking, I only knew how to mother my oldest from the example that was set before me. At that time, there was no other way. And I remember disciplining my oldest, and instead of him crying, I heard another person's voice crying, and it was my mother's. And I remember, Mom, are you crying? And because her cry was louder than my son's was, and I was teaching her to potty train. And I remember looking at my mom, and she, a woman who speaks so softly, and she really did her best to not try to mother me as a daughter in front of my boys, which I really appreciate looking back. But I remember looking at her, and she was like, be better than me. I heard your tone in speaking to your son. It reminded me how I would speak to you and your siblings. And she would just say, she didn't explain anything to me, she just be better than me. She walked away. But I translated exactly what she was saying. And so I'm so thankful that she was able to tell me that in ways that she could communicate in times that she was wrong. And just that little portion truly transformed me into who I am today. So raising our sons, I have two boys, and my youngest is on the spectrum. He is autistic, and learning how to communicate with them, learning to also show affection. If you know my oldest, he's bright, he's colorful, he just hugs me, kisses me 10 times a day, and sometimes I'm like, get away from me, but I look at him, I'm like, this is normal. I so appreciate that my son gets to know that this is his normal childhood. As a teacher myself, literally a teacher, and a minister in a ministry in a church, he's the one that is in the car with me. He's packing up all my supplies with me. And I remember one time he was in the car complaining. He's like, Mom, why am I the first one here? He's like, Mom, why every time we leave the house we have to take buckets and baskets and supplies? And before I corrected him, I remember thanking God first. I said, thank you that this is my son's life. Thank you, God, that he's able to see that, like I told him, I'm sorry, but I'm a teacher. Can you believe that? I'm so sorry, because he's going to come to set up the table with me and make sure everybody has a pencil. But he gets to see me because of who the woman that my mother has helped me become today. And so as we go into the next topic today, which is sisterhood and strength, which is a word I heard from Tony come out. And as much as we're talking about the woman, the fathers in the life who has molded us into who we are today, what does real sisterhood look like to you? While I have a mic, I am so appreciative of those who has taken me in the church. Some of you might know my good friend Elizabeth Phillips. We call her, what's her nickname, Bravo? Enthusiastic Elizabeth. But every season, in times, as I spoke earlier, in times where I was working, God had given me a woman who would nurture me to the next season. And right now the season is done. But I think of them as mentors, people who corrected me, people who loves me, ladies who tell me how to dress, or just things like you were saying, mentioned earlier. That's a common topic in our discussion as women. Like you said, I'm sorry to say again, wearing good underwear, making sure your hair looks nice. Because my mother and I wasn't as close growing up, hearing these things truly helped me, again, transform into who I am today. So yes, I'm going to open this panel of questions to you as what does real sisterhood look like for you today?
The community is huge for me. Sisterhood is community. It's community within each other. But it's also being very vulnerable. I remember a time I was doing hair and lash extensions from home. I was married at the time, on the brink of divorce. So I was going through a lot. I had running my own business, and then I was also working at Home Depot. taking care of my kids and my nieces. So I was not operating off of my own strength, and I'll stand by that till the day I die. I don't know how I made it, but I remember being so broke down. And I had to suck that up. Like, you know how growing up, suppress that. You got stuff to do. Like, I had to, every time I would be crying right before I would get a client knock at the door, and I would just have to suck it up. And then I was like, hey, how are you? Very much like I was never crying. But I had a lot of hurt, I had a lot of anger, I had a lot of like, I don't want to do this, but I have to. And I remember I was also getting a call for food stamps at the time. But my client showed up a little early, so it was one of my loyal clients that's been with me for a long time. And I was really flustered because I had my youngest kids with me, and there was 4 of them. And they were not having a great day. So we had some that were screaming, crying, like wanted attention. I also had a newborn at the time. So I was trying to take this call, and I was very like trying to show up, and I couldn't hide it anymore. And I thank God for my client that day, because she's still to this day like something very good to me. I put her in the room where I was doing classes, and I was like, I'm back. So I go and take the call in the bathroom, and I'm crying on the phone, like trying to do all the things, and I couldn't get food stamps for whatever reason it was that time. And you know, just like I'm not gonna make it, and I just wanted to break that. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do anything. Very much fighting depression. When I came out, my client was in my kitchen washing my dishes. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, no, please don't do that. And she grabbed me by my shoulders. And she said, Tony, I see you. It's okay. And you know, in the space that I am doing here and Life Extensions, my clients always open up to me. You know, they always tell me their things, and I never open up to them. I never utilize community. I never utilize sisterhood. And I was seen for a second. And that makes such a difference to me that going forward, I said, I have to have a community. I have to be a community, and I have to have a community. So that's what sisterhood looks like to me. It's being vulnerable and saying, I need y'all. Like, I don't have it. I'm fighting something, or you're fighting something. Let me help. Like, I feel like that's sisterhood.
So I moved here from Illinois 13 years ago for my husband's job with a 6-month-old, and knowing I had to change jobs because I was working remote, and so I knew somebody, like one person in Frisco or something, and she had little kids too. So it's like I didn't have a community. We didn't have a church that we felt safe at. I knew some people from work, but I didn't feel comfortable using them as crutches. And so, you know, I didn't know that I was depressed. I say that, like, yeah. But I say, like, when I moved here, I tell people that live here, I'm like, you know, I think the South is a little bit more accepting about medication than Illinois, because, like, my OB did not ask the right questions. And so I went on another, like, 2 years inside my own head, and everything was terrible inside my head, everything outside it was fine. Didn't know that I had that intense anxiety and depression, postpartum depression, until I had my second child 2 years later. And at that point, I was able to get some medication to make me feel like a human again. Yeah, I was like, I didn't realize I was so crazy. And then I started, you know, knowing that I needed to do something to change the situation so I could support. And so, like, and to this day, I still have these really good 30 friends that are local, that we all moved here at the same time from various different locations with kids in the same age, and we didn't know anybody. And they all were like on a Facebook group and said, is anybody interested in joining a book club? I'm like, you get to the point where it's like, I will come over, bring you, medication because your husband is traveling and you have kids and you can't leave the house, and, I will come and I will help you launch your business, and I will help you to support other. And so we've kind of become our own family, our own community family, and they are very strong women and have taught me that you can reach out beyond what your expectations are. You can own your business and do something different. And just because your family lives 2,000 miles away doesn't mean you can't be your own family. And so we really had to do that locally to be able to survive and make it through infants and toddlers and tweens and things like that too.
So I connect with you a lot. Well, with both of you. I think the sense of we're strong, and I'm strong, and like I need to hold it together. I don't know if it's a woman thing. I don't want to say that, but at least it's a pattern that I see when I hear my friends and I see myself. It's a lot of sticking together, and just go for it. So that I definitely could connect with, and asking for help. I think for me has been hard to learn to be vulnerable, as you said, but more than that, it's really asking for help. It's saying, just get your ego down. Like you don't, like it's your internal ego fighting that you can do everything. No, like I just need help, and I just need like someone to talk to. I had the same experience when we moved here, 2019. Joe's family, my husband's family, they're from Michigan, and they live there. And my family, they're from Mexico, Monterrey, they live there. So we came, and he was like, okay, we're young, we didn't have kids at the time, we're gonna build this amazing community of friends, and come here. And we were like, okay, you're my friend, I'm your friend, and we're forever, like you're my sister, my brother, my everything. And that was for a while. And as I got pregnant and again pregnant, like having kids, I need more, right? Like I need a friend to talk about these kids, and I don't want to overwhelm my husband all the time because it's okay, but sometimes it's not okay. And I'm so grateful when we moved to the community that we live right now. They were so friendly, but I remember two specific moments of two girls different. They're so great, they're women. And one, she said, "Oh, you're from Mexico? I'm from Mexico. I have friends. Like I'll invite you." And she immediately built this community around me for me to be feel welcome and have a space to talk. And she has been an amazing friend, making me feel welcome in this new country. Because for me, I'm not only away from my family, but I'm away from everything in a way. And having that sense of community. But also that of really launching the business, even though I had an amazing support from Joe. That encouragement, like you're strong, like why are you, like you're so, like, those words of encouragement and praising of how smart you are or anything. I don't know if it's a common thing of human beings of having that imposter syndrome, but for me, that was a huge thing. It was like, yeah, I know I can do it, but maybe, I don't know, like all the others say yes, but probably not. Like, though that was my brain all the time. And so having that support of women saying, yes, like, thank you, or here's how I can help you, or I'm connecting with this person because you can help each other, and giving that space for me to have friends, like only for that, and then ask for support. I remember one day I had a meeting in Dallas that I wanted to go because I was invited, but we needed to manage the logistics of our girls. We only have a car, and that was like, okay, I'm going to drive there. Like, what are we going to do? I immediately called our friend. I was like, could you do it? And she's like, oh, of course. And she's like, and she doesn't really recommend it. Like, she dropped her girls, Kane, pick up Joe, the girls with the car seats, like all everything that, and that is what I feel of a sisterhood. It's really being happy for the other's success and support their success or whatever success looks like for them, and expecting the same backwards and really have that trust with each other and saying, you're amazing, I know that you will talk, I'm amazing, and we're all amazing together.
And sisterhood, it's hard for me to reach out to. I'm more of a leader than like anybody. But I think there's different types of sisterhood. I have different groups of sisterhood. I don't know that it goes with things. I'm good. I'll let them know how strong we are. But my issue is set on the work, so it's hard. But I do have that group, who listen, sister group, who's very supportive of me. And my people, when you all, I love you guys, the family here. That, I was like, this morning, my kids, you'll be fine, and you'll be good. I said, okay, thank you. But, I'm very much I'm scheduled, my schedule was all crazy, I stress myself, but, like I said, there's different types of sisterhood. I believe in that when we reach out to, okay, those who give us I'm their community where, it's just, it's different type, it's a different circle for me with my sisterhood and things like that, and there's just, don't ask, but I just think there's different types of sisterhood for me.
So, my experience is a little different. I think, I'm almost 60 years old, and I really didn't have a sisterhood until.
You look good, by the way. Yeah. I see I got in the middle of a deep conversation with Freya.
I always saw like these movies where these women grew up and they get together and go places and grab each other and support each other. I grew up with guys. Like when I in high school, it was my husband and about 12 other guys, and I was a tomboy, and we would jump off of bridges and race cars, and they really, literally, I knew them before they started dating, and I remember we were all sitting in one of the guys' rooms because they didn't realize I was a girl, so we could hang out. And they literally said, they were talking about girls, and they were like, oh, Barbara's a girl. It's Barbara. I don't know. I don't hang out with girls. I don't know anything. I don't know what to tell you. So I really never, ever had a sisterhood for me. So it was very kind of sad. And I was kind of like, I never asked for help because I had to do it. I remember my dad, when I was little, he was just helping me out. So I was being honored. I wasn't getting ready for church. And he was like, I was not listening to my mom. And he was like, do you need help? And I'm like, yeah. So he smacked me on my behind. And he said, do you need some more help? And I said, no, I'm good. I want help. And I never asked for help after that. And I know he didn't mean it like that. And he didn't even hit me that hard. I didn't cry. It was a shocker. But I don't ask for help. I mean, Elizabeth, now that I have a sisterhood now, Elizabeth's a Barbara. You need to help. You need to get help. You need to get other people to help you. And I try to do everything myself. And it's exhausting. It is so exhausting. And I'm blessed because I'm like, I want to hear you, but I'm running out of energy. I need help. So when we moved from Fort Worth to Bedford, we bought a house and I met this lady, this little Liberian lady named, we call her T.S. Terrio. And she just decided she was going to be my mom, she was going to be my friend, and she just introduced me to all these people. And I ended up developing this prayer warrior group of ladies. And we would go to one of the ladies' house. We call her Miss Daisy. We go to Miss Daisy's house. She had a special needs son. I didn't know about special needs at this time in my life. I wasn't working with special needs kids. And he would cook us breakfast, and we would pray. And all these ladies would come in, and I never prayed like that before. We we would just, whatever was going on in your life, we would just pray, and we would pray, and we would, and it was, and they just knew how to pray. I didn't know, I was learning. I was grew up in the church, but praying, please don't let anybody ask me to pray, please don't let me ask me to pray. Don't ask me to pray in public. And I learned how to pray, and I learned that there were women who love you and can support you when you are down, and when your husband's out of work, and when you're working 3-4 jobs, and there's women who come and they just show up, and they just say, it's okay, you can do this, we're here for you. And I started looking, like you said, there's different groups of sister groups, right? Right now, in my business, we met Elizabeth, and she just jumps in, and she just brings all these ladies together, and having that mentor has meant so much of a difference. The lady who I inherited my company from, Darlene Hollingsworth, she was like a sister to me. She wasn't like my boss. She was like my sister. And we would fuss, and I never had anybody I could fuss with. Like, usually if I have friends, it was like, oh, don't say anything to make them upset. Well, that's not really sisterhood, is it? You can't fuss with that person. You're worried you're going to upset them. That's not really that freedom. Me and her, she was my boss. We would fuss at each other, but we always were done. We were always okay at the end. It was like, you say what you got to say, I say what I got to say, and we're back to being normal. And it was so wonderful to have that freedom to just be yourself. And, and I can only be myself to a certain degree. She's still my boss, right? So there was still that cap, I go off. It was wonderful. So I think that it's so important that whoever's listening, when you seek that sister, you seek, you may find it in church, you may find it through schools, you may find it, but look for someone who you can connect with, who you can just tell them how you feel, and they, like you said, support you when good things happen. And they support you when bad things happen. The few girls I might have had friends with, I don't think they were too happy when good things happen. They were kind of like, well, I'm so glad for you. But, maybe I wish you had with me. So not everybody is going to be happy for you when you have success. So you have to be careful who those people are that you pull into your circle. But there are people you can do that, And I think you have to show up for them, because I'm like you, I like to give. I like to show up for people. People call me and they tell me all their problems, and I love that. I want to support you, but I don't really have too much. You gotta keep it. So I'm grateful for this panel. I'm grateful for you ladies because you helped me realize, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to let go and just be yourself. Not always be. Always be perfect. You don't have to do that all the time. And so.
Well, if I may add, okay, to that before the other question, that's an amazing thing that, as you said, you've been working probably, I don't know how many of you, but we've been working for other women. And that leadership, like I'm so grateful, one of my bosses is now my friend, and that is how us now as business owners, we support, we can support others as well. I just want to put that because praise to the leaders that they have women learning from you. You're an amazing example and a huge responsibility as well. So, but that is the direct way of being an amazing sister and believe that sisterhood in the proper way. I don't know what to say proper way, but in a way that can thrive and make us all continue the chain of prosperity. Not to that.
Yes, thank you. Women in the workspace is like you were just saying. I think that that's a very beautiful thing and needed thing also, working under a woman. I know I worked with my dad in carpentry, and through his business we built so many things together. And right now our current job, we're building a pergola and wraparound deck around this above ground pool. And so the customer wants rods in between the pergola so she can hang her curtains, and things like that. And so yesterday we were putting it up, and I was talking to my brother, and I was telling him, hey, when you put up those curtains, make sure that the tag is facing the inside, not the outside, so that it's facing that way. The customer happened to come out, she was like, I love having a woman on the team. And I was like, exactly, because, you know, women in spaces, even in men-dominant spaces, is a real helpful thing, and it's important to have. And so when she said that, I was like, you're so right. Because this boy would have put those tags all kind of ways. Yeah, right. He knows how to build a deck, but those tags would have got him. So, yes, that's very true. For me, myself, I grew up, I have two sisters, and so all of our life, my father was in Bible school, and my parents were missionaries in the early part of my life, and so that meant we moved around a lot. And because we moved around a lot, all we had was each other. So a large part of my life was spent in the same room, because every household we were in, we shared the same room, one bedroom. And a lot of my life and a lot of the things that have shaped me today come from the conversations, the fights, and the times that we had sharing that space together. And I think one cool thing about sharing a space with your siblings growing up is because you never go through anything alone. Like, you're fighting with your boyfriend, guess what? Your sister heard the conversation. You know, you're crying under your blanket, yeah, turn on the light, we're gonna have a talk right now. And so those are the things that, you know, just growing up, that was my experience, is that I never went through anything alone. My sister saw what I was going through, I saw what they were going through, and we were always there. Whether you wanted it or not, we were there to help support you or to get you through this thing and move on. And so that has always been my experience. And that's also a reason why we built this platform in the first place, what I said podcast, was because through traveling everywhere, we've seen how important that community and that sisterhood is. And so we wanted to build a space where we can create the virtual sisterhood for those who didn't have that, and those who built their family, their community, their sisterhood. And I feel like as human beings, that sense of belonging and for community is an innate part of us. And I feel like as we go, whether we recognize it or not, there's always that thing within us that's reaching out and longing for that. And what I really love, like, shout out to Eder, we've also had our fights too. Like she said, we're best friends. When I came to Texas, we met and here we are today. And so what I love about the friends, the sisterhood that I have, is that we don't ask for permission. And there's times when my sisters come to my house and they're like, you need a nap, because you've been yelling at us. You need a nap, yeah. And they're like, give me the baby, I'm washing the dishes, I'm doing this, you need to relax. And I love that, because we just intercede for each other, and we know that love is the foundation of it all. And so you'll get over it. You'll get over it, but I'm here for you. I'm here to make sure you're okay. And I really, really love that. And so, Barbara, in the same way, you know, welcome to your sisterhood. Here we are. And so, you need something, call Edna before you call me, but just call Edna first. No, I'm just kidding. But we're ready to show up. We're ready to show up for you. And thank you for being vulnerable. And Ricky also. Ricky, before you answered, I could have answered for you, because we see that in you. Or I definitely see that in you, and I know that that's how you are. And so when you hit me up this morning, I was like, girl, drive safely, we got it. We'll see you when we get here. And so I love, I feel like that's for us, for women, our default setting is nurture, take care, it's all of the things. And so sometimes someone has to come along and let me turn off a few of these settings. You need to reset, you need to relax. And so the same thing for you too, Ricky. Thank you also, because this was a very intentional thing for you to do. And with all of the ideas that are running through your mind, thank you for choosing this one and bringing it to life so that we can sit here together today and have this conversation. Because even though you say like you're not the type to ask for help, but even somewhere that it was going on, you knew that this needed to happen. You brought these women together. And so you brought your sisters together here. So thank you so much for doing that, because I'm really enjoying this conversation. So thank you to everybody for saying yes.
Absolutely. I'm learning from you guys, but also I find it so comforting that there's, yes, I've been to that. I can't even correlate everything that she said, because that's exactly what I'm trying to say. That's why the podcast is called What Anna Said. Because as you guys are talking, I'm like, yeah, that's what exactly what I was trying to say earlier. So thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you all for sharing that. Kim, Fina, where are you? Right here. She is one of our co-hosts of What Anna Said podcast. And one of the things, as Tony was calling, she said, hey, I know I'm supposed to be there, but I have my children, can you watch them? And Kim was like, yes, you see her in the stroller, you see her helping with Tony's kids. That's sisterhood right there. And so as we're all speaking, especially when you were talking about your friend on the car seats, we know as a woman how hard it is to do car seats. But she was like, I'm gonna take your kids, I got you. I'm gonna say, go take a nap, you've been yelling too much. And we love that we can discern that as women, because we know how it feels like to put those buckles together. We know how it feels like we're overstimulated or overwhelmed. And so I just love your answers so far. Before we close in with this question, well, I can't wait to open up this question, because now we're going into real life and responsibilities. As Ricky sent us, who was going to be on our panel today, I'm looking at the panel and I, zoomed in because I want to see what all of you guys are doing. And many of us here, all of us are businesswomen and entrepreneurs. Some of us have been in the field for a very long time. Many of us here are mothers, are wives, mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunties, grandmothers, yes, sorry, grandmothers. Yes. So I want to ask, in the field that you're in, and also balancing all these things together, thinking on the topic of real life and responsibilities, do you believe balance is real or is it seasonal for you?
Balance is totally seasonal, I think, because at some time in your business, well, just an example, with the clubhouse, we just had a big gala, right? During that time, you're constantly working and you just focus. And I'm like, family, y'all gotta think for yourselves here. I'm gonna do some meals here and put them in the freezer, and then you guys grab what you can. Family is important, but sometimes for at least a short period of time, you have to put your business first a little bit. I think for me, it's hard to rest. Like, I don't rest. I wake up at 3 a.m. almost every morning and go to bed at 9, 10, 11 o'clock sometimes. So I don't rest. I'm learning that. So I think having that, what's the question again? Balance is real, right? I think balance is real. You need it. Do we do it? Probably not. But I think it can be seasonal. I think it can be seasonal. When you have those times to be able to get away. When we had our exchange student last year, we went to Galveston. We got to rest and I got to hang out on the beach. So I got to do it occasionally, but I think it's better if you have some kind of a season. I'd like to learn more. Maybe someone else has more to say about that, about how to create that balance. I think it's vital, but I may not do it.
Mine is very seasonal, because my brain is just always going on. But then sometimes I'm learning to be just have it. If not, there's days where we're sick and the world just, and I'm in my room. And I'm home all weekend. We're like, I don't know, it's home all weekend, what's going on? What's good? I mean, right, I'm going, but that's, and I push myself, but it's very simple to me because I'm so down. I mean, I can get a good sleep, but then your brain's just nonstop, you're going to figure that out. You gotta finish this thing. You want to rest, you want to, but it's just, so I'm very,
I just enjoy how nothing is stable. I love that. I'm learning, but I love it this year. I think I'm working on finding that it's okay. Just let it it's reminding me another podcast in Spanish. If someone wants to listen to it, I'll send it. But yeah, we're talking about that. Like sometimes work-life balance is kind of tricky because what is that? What does even that look like for a specific person? And sometimes you need to give 80% at work and 20% at home, or sometimes you need to do 80% at home or 50% to yourself and then the other, you can break it down, like, so it depends on where you're at. And I'm trying to learn that is the life balance for me and for our family. There are gonna be weeks that we might need to do 80-20, or I might need to do 80 and then Joe's 20 and then I 20, he's 80. Like that is trying to find a way of like, this is the balance, but be mindful that it's not steady. It will never be 50-50, and it's okay. Like that is the balance that I want. I think sometimes you need help, sometimes you give help, sometimes, and so nothing is steady. I think that would be a very utopic to think about, like, oh, everything stays. Nothing stays the same. We're talking about change. We're talking about, we're always changing all the time. Every day we're getting wiser. I'm not gonna say older, we're getting wiser. So I think it's part of that, and that's how I'm trying to see it. These years, so I'm learning. Early 3 months trying to practice that, but I think we're getting.
For me, balance is just real, because right now I probably have about 8 plates spinning. Right now. I'm actually having a garage sale at my house right now. Did y'all know that? Yes, it is open. So, not only do I have my Mary Kay, I have a florist, children's sale. So yes, my plates are spinning at all around me. So, balance is not seasonal because it never changes. My plates are just always spinning. So it's just finding that kind of balance as to each one. I mean, I've got grandkids at my house this weekend too. So, and I'm babysitting. Oh, did y'all know that? I'm babysitting. I'm not up with you. So yes, it's just finding that balance and knowing that it's got to be done. So.
One thing that was taught to me through I guess it was kind of like I don't know how to call it. Anyway, it was teaching us how to build a business the God's way. Shout out to Faith Hustle, they really taught me a lot. But one thing one of the men said, he said, there is really no such thing as like work-life balance. It's more harmonious. It's a harmony. So like you were saying, there's times where you're gonna have to push more towards business, and everybody gotta understand at home, we doing microwave, oven, air fryer. We're gonna have to substitute because this needs more attention right now, but I'm not neglecting y'all. And then there's times where you gotta say, work is doing what it gotta do, but I need to take care of my family. And nothing has to get neglected. It's just the attention on where you put what, at what times is necessary. And it's a harmony. And that goes along with sisterhood too. Like having people that recognize like, oh, she has to push more towards your business. So let me go ahead and help more with the kids or, things like that. So I feel like, I guess it is balanced and seasonal. Like there are seasons where you're gonna have to push more towards one thing, but there is a harmony, there is a balance to finding rest in the midst of all the things, and you don't have to be everywhere at one time. It's a push and pull on where you go and how you find rest, but making sure all the spaces are taken care of at the same time. So that includes us. We can't neglect us as well. That's a part of the harmony. So yes, I feel like work-life balance is seasonal and it is balanced.
Yeah, I think it exists. For me, I have to manufacture the balance. So it's like carefully monitoring my calendar and blocking things out so certain people don't see this, or because like Suzette, I can list all the things that I'm doing other than my job and being a parent, but I also have to be there for, and so I know that as somebody who's naturally an introvert, I know that there are times that I need to back off and give myself space, and I can't feel bad about not playing with my kids or whatever at that moment. Like, I need to go recharge. So, I know there's got to be recharge time. I know that there are 2 soccer games this weekend. One of them I'm coaching, and so then I've got a friend who's got a birthday party, and so I have to figure out when to do I say no so that I can balance? Because I don't feel like my mother was ever one that was like, she had girls' nights and she did not go to the spa and she didn't get her nails done, right? So there wasn't like now where I feel like it's more socially acceptable to be like, oh, I'm gonna go get my nails done instead of taking a meeting or something, just to give yourself that time. And it's learned and it's manufactured, and I have to practice because it's not something that I'm like, oh yeah, every day at 3 o'clock, everything shuts down and it's all just family. So I have to like manufacture triggers for myself to remember to do that.
One more thing that really struck me was what you said was that also with the work-life balance, there's also, for me, the spiritual side of it that's important. That, I spend time with God in the morning, every morning. And I think it's really made a huge difference in finding that time for work-life balance. I can put God first. And I think sometimes we forget that. We get busy. And I don't do it all the time. I try to do it most days. And I find that those days when I start out in the morning and I'm not thinking about all the stuff I need to do, but I say, oh, stop, let's go to God, let's talk to Him first about what we got to do. I find that the day goes better. I find that I'm more focused, I'm less stressed. And those days where I just, I'm gonna get out the door and I don't do it, it's more, it feels like the day's heavier. And so that was just, I just wanted to remember that it's something I do pretty much on a daily basis. I'm up early and I'm either reading my Bible or listening to some kind of Bible something or praying or something. And I think that makes a huge difference for me.
Thank you, Barbara, for sharing that. That's something that resonates with me too. Just getting plugged back into the source. Because as women, doing everything, you juggling those eight things that you're doing right now on top of the babysitting, you have a garage sale going on. First of all, thank you so much for spending time in this. I'm sure you had that set up already, so for you to be here, it just speaks to the multiple things that you have going on. So thank you. And just hearing what everybody, like Ricky said, the thoughts are going nonstop. And so, Barbara, you're just speaking to the thing that sustains us as we're being drained and we're having all these things to do, to going back to the source for our sustenance and spending that time with God. And I really identify with that too, because just looking at all the things in my life, and just really understanding the purpose that these things were given to me, or these tasks, these responsibilities, and the things that I take on. And I truly believe that once you understand your purpose, it gives meaning to the things you do. And not only that, but it also prioritizes the things you do. One of the things, the biggest things that I have said all my life, I tell my kids, everybody at work, I really hate to waste time. And I know as business women, you guys understand the same thing. I hate wasting words and I hate wasting time. And so if I'm going to be doing something, it's because I want to do it. It's because there's a purpose here, and that it's serving others, and that I'm making sure I'm maximizing my potential, whatever it is. I'm not wasting time in this thing. So that's one thing that my family and my children really understand, is that, hey, mama's doing this thing and it's taking 80% this week, but I don't do anything that wastes time. And everything that we do is building us up, building something up, building people up. And so they know that whether it's 80, 20, 15, 100% of the time, this is for us. This is a group effort for all of us. And so they really understand that. And purpose really gives me the border, it really defines the spaces for the things I'm in. So, I already know if I'm going to give too much to this or not give too much to this, because purpose has already protected me from giving more than I should. And so that's the thing that I really believe, is that purpose protects character, it protects vision, and it also gives meaning to everything that we're doing. So just like this podcast here, we might sit here for the next 5 hours, but this is the important thing. People need to hear this, not just for today, because this is, the internet is forever. And so how beautiful it would be for our children to grow up and then look back at this episode and say, hey, look at what mom was saying and what she verbally committed to doing for me as a child, and now I'm a mom, or whatever it is, however the ripple effect of what this can do for somebody. this is worth it to me, worth spending this moment with you ladies. So thank you so much.
Absolutely, thank you so much, every last one of you. One of the things that we say a lot is our families are our first missionary, and so going into business all of a sudden 2 years ago, as someone who's a perfectionist, I really had a hard time feeling like I was neglecting my family as I would drive away. So like, yes, time is so important because it's taking away from my family. So anything that I'm doing, I need to make sure that it's going to benefit my family. And so going into a field of mental health, I always love, and that probably comes natural to me, to be able, when I'm at home, I'm being intentional with my children, making sure that I'm checking on them before I leave the house, especially now as doing other things that we're doing, serving our community. I want to make sure that I'm the same person who's serving my community, I'm the same person who's serving my family. And so I check in with my husband, our boys, and one of the things that I realized I became busy is when my husband started cooking dinner. And I thought, wow, I am so sorry. But he absolutely loves what I'm doing because he's always like, I've been waiting for you to do this. Yes, leave the house. I'm supporting you. You're doing great. And I know that because right now he's out fishing. So he's enjoying his life right now. And so being here and hearing everyone's answer, I was really looking forward to real life and responsibilities, this question, because I wanted to know what is it going to look like online for us, right? What is it going to look like, knowing the importance of all of you guys bringing these valuable answers here, it really is letting me know that we're going to be okay. We're going to be just fine. And so thank you for those who have been joining us on live. And if you're still here, we want to make sure that before you leave, that we leave a message with you. And those who are in the audience who are staying here with us for this long. And so ladies, like Anna said, everything that we're going to say is going to be on the internet forever. And so, no pressure. As I've asked this closing question, okay? What is one thing you want women to carry with them after this conversation?
That you matter. That no matter whatever's going on in life, you matter.
This is something that I picked up from I see you, we see you. And we're here for you.
The only thing that came to my mind, like as soon as you asked the question, is you got this. Like, you got this. Everything's gonna be okay. You got this. Do what you're supposed to do, and that's it. I think you got this. You got this, girl.
I would say that you have a purpose, and you are that purpose, whatever you make of it.
I would say you're not alone, and utilize that you're not alone. So always stay connected to the source, stay connected to the people around you. There is community, there is always community, and you don't have to do it by yourself. You're not alone.
I will use Mel Robbins' Let Them, because I think myself, I get very concerned about what other people think, and just let them think what they think and you don't.
And I think that that's true freedom. When you let whatever perceptions people have of you, and you don't work to prove them wrong or prove anything, that's true freedom. That's really beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you to everyone for the encouragement too. That's true sisterhood. You got this, you matter, we see you, you have a purpose, which I think is so beautiful, because I truly believe that you have a purpose. I think that, as a creator who created everything that we see around us and took a look around and said, you know what, we need to have a Tony, or we need to have Ricky. And so I think that, we were created with so much intention and so much purpose, and thank you for mentioning that, because I really want anyone listening to this right now to know that you have a purpose, and whatever season you're going through, maybe right now you just can't, the only thing you can do each day is wake up and you don't even know how you're going to get to tomorrow. And I want to let you know that you have a purpose, that even in those seasons of our life, that even plays a role into shaping us into who we're becoming. And so lean on your community or build a community. Teresa here, you just brought such a beautiful perspective, and I love that you did, because any of our listeners can see that you moved here alone. You stayed with your 6-month-old baby, and you didn't know where to begin. And well, I'm sorry, and your husband came along, and so you reached out and you built a community that you have today. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, is that you don't have to be born, you don't have to be ready with this community of sisterhood, that you can reach out and that you can build that on your own. And so thank you, ladies, for sharing that. Sorry, Emma, did you answer that question? I don't want to leave
You know
you
what, the
out.
reason I answer that is because every time someone answered that, I was like, that's what I'm gonna say. No, that's what I was gonna say. And then she, brought it together with purpose. If you have tuned in with us on the Honest Ed podcast, we meet here every Friday at 11:30. And we've been talking about identity and purpose, because those are very important. When you know who you are, we have been learning that all of these things is worth it. Knowing who you are gives you the direction of where you're going, and that no matter anything that's coming to your left, to your right, you're going the path that you're hitting your target every single time. So I love that this particular is part of that journey for all of us. Anna always says we are on a journey of becoming, and I see that in every single one of you guys as you are speaking. For someone like me, one of the things I would like to share is, in a sense, is that your story matters. And we always speak about your voice, being a voice for someone out there who can understand exactly what you are sharing. That is why everything that all of you guys are sharing is going to be something that anyone who is watching this can pick up and know that looks like me, that sounds like me. Representation matters. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining us here today.
Yes. And thank you to everyone. We may come from different backgrounds, cultures, and different experiences, but truly hearing all of your stories today, it goes to show that the resilience, strength, and heart of a woman is something that we share across the board. And so I want to thank you guys for spending time with us today. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for saying yes, even though you didn't know what you were getting yourself into. Ricky, thank you for putting this together. Dustin Morris, thank you so much for hosting us and creating a safe space for us to have an open dialogue. We love it here. And so we'll catch you guys on another episode of What